The company owned the intellectual property rights to anything the employees developed, so nothing forced Mike to share the wealth. Angry at her husband's abandonment of her and abuse of her friend, Lisa leaned over and hugged Tony. The hug turned into a passionate kiss. They quickly left the restaurant and went straight to Tony's townhouse. They never made it to dancing that night. Lisa refused to call it an affair. She was in love with her true soulmate. The thing was wild and fun. Tony was the man she was meant to be with. The 36-year-old mother of two and schoolteacher wanted to divorce her husband and move on to a new life with her true love, her husband's 29-year-old employee. They still went dancing once a week, but any other time Lisa got that the kids and Mike were out of the house, she was often in Tony's bed. Two things stopped her from going forward with her divorce, though. The first were her kids. She'd seen enough of her students go through divorces that she didn't want them to grow up in two homes. Mike was a great father when he was home, and she had enough residual feeling for him to want him to still be with his kids, but she wouldn't give them up either. The second was a suggestion from Tony. Mike had just promoted Tony to director of engineering with a much larger paycheck and a great annual performance bonus. Tony wanted to wait a while, so he could establish himself in the position and with the customers. Tony said that Lisa could get the company as part of the divorce, and they would run it together the way it was supposed to be run. Tony claimed the engineering and production staff would support Tony over Mike, who was seen as an absentee boss. Together, the lovers developed their plan for their own future and support. They would wait for Samantha to graduate before starting to activate their plan. In the meantime, Tony would develop his support among the employees so they were ready when the time came. Lisa stepped dripping naked from her shower. Her muscles felt relaxed for the first time all day. She and Tony had celebrated Sam's leaving for school the night before. Sam's early graduation allowed them to move up their plan a full 2 years, and Tony's was really excited. The hot water and lotions had done wonders, and now she was ready to crawl into bed. Hopefully, Mike didn't want to celebrate with her tonight. Wrapping a large, fuzzy towel around her body, Lisa walked into the large walk-in closet she shared with Mike. She grabbed her robe and turned to walk out, but then suddenly froze. She turned to look back in the closet. All of Mike's things were gone. Lisa ran over to Mike's dresser and saw the top had been cleaned off. Yanking the drawers open, they were empty too. All of Mike's personal things were missing from the bathroom too. Lisa ran down the stairs and saw nothing amiss in the kitchen. It was in the family room she noticed that some of the family photos were missing from the wall, and Mike's movie collection was gone too. Her panic was complete when she reached Mike's home office, and it was completely cleaned out. She sank to the floor as the enormity of the situation hit her. Mike had left her. He waited until Sam was off to school and he'd left her. The sudden fear shot through her that Mike knew about Tony and their plans. Lisa ran back up the stairs to grab her cell phone. She had to call Tony. Running into her room, Lisa spotted an envelope sitting on a DVD in the middle of her bed. With trembling hands, Lisa picked up the envelope and saw her name written in Mike's hand on front. She opened it and read, "Lisa, I've loved you since we first met. You were the only one I wanted to spend my life with. It has been my greatest failing that this will never be true. I couldn't avoid my travel, not and keep the business. You never said you had a problem. Instead, you ran to the arms of that conniving weasel Tony. I was shocked when I found out you were that snake in the grass. If there was ever some Eddie Haskell wannabe, it is Tony. Tony kissed my ass in the office and then stabbed me in the back when I was gone. I found out too late after I promoted the rat what he was really like. He turned my staff against me just like he turned my wife into his personal ass. A misquote here and an insinuation there, and he had the engineering staff ready quit en masse. I was an idiot and knew nothing about your affair until it had already been going for a year. When I read my investigator's report, I knew it was too late to save our marriage. There was no road back from this betrayal. The only thing I agreed with you was waiting for Sam to graduate. Don't worry about telling the kids. They already know. In fact, Sam's the one that told me. Our 14-year-old daughter had to tell her father that her mother was a cheating ass. Remember the sudden dive trip where I took Sam to the Keys? She had come home and heard a rather graphic conversation you were having with your buddy. She collapsed to the floor, and you completely missed her when you left to meet that a-hole. Sam called me to come home to her. It took me the whole 4-day weekend to get her to hold it together. Of course, I later found out you spent almost that whole time in Tony's bed whining about me abandoning you. I've had her in counseling ever since we returned from that trip. You know Sam's drive to graduate early? When I decided to stay with you until she graduated, Sam decided to work to graduate early. I almost ended it right there and go for the divorce, but Sam demanded that she could do it. I was so proud and heartbroken by her decision. We didn't tell Josh until after his graduation. He's been seeing Sam's counselor ever since. He was shocked that his mother would ever do such a thing. I had to show him the edited version of my evidence to get him to believe Sam and me. I got him to realize you still loved him and his sister and stayed for them. I think that may be the only thing that saves your relationship with him. Good luck with Sam, though. As to you and Loveboy's plan to steal my company, you never realized the company was owned by a family trust. With Dad's passing, the shareholders are his descendants. That would be our 2 kids and me. It would never be considered part of our common property in a divorce. Only the salary I drew, my pension, and the house fall into that category. That's why I had the trust by my vet. I can't sell off the trust, but I can, with the board of trustees, divest the trust of the company. The trustees consist of Josh, Sam, and I. When the employees of Lars Manufacturing arrive in the office on Monday, they will be in for a hell of a shock. I tell you, but why spoil the surprise? I found the letter you planned to have delivered to me when you had me served. As the song said, I guess you felt you had to set things right. Well, I've got some news for you, and you'll soon find out it's true. And you'll have to eat your lunch all by yourself. But I am already gone. If only you had talked to me. For the last time. Love, Mike. P.S. The DVD contains some of your greatest hits. Be sure to watch the videos in the folder called Tony Uncovered. Lisa collapsed onto her bed with the thoughts of her children knowing just what their mother had been doing and planning to do to their father. Oh, God, she cried out. I've lost them all. When the employees of Lars Manufacturing arrived in the office, they were greeted with an email announcing the sale of the company to a much larger company looking to take over their niche. Mike never appeared at the office. Instead, it was the new owners and Mike's corporate lawyer that appeared. The long-term production and support teams found their pensions were guaranteed with at least 5 more years of employment or a buyout equal to any remaining time. The engineers that fell in with Tony got no such guarantee. They turned on Tony as his promises of a lucrative future turned to ash. Tony tried to call Lisa to find out what happened, but found his calls going straight to voicemail. He knew Mike was home all weekend, so he'd never expected a chance to talk with Lisa. Now she was avoiding his calls. Tony finally decided to drive over in a fit of desperation to try to salvage his plans. He pulled into Lisa's driveway and looked for any sign of Mike. A glance in the garage told him the Corvette was gone. That meant Mike was out too. Ringing the doorbell brought no answer, so he just walked in. Lisa, he called out. There was no answer. He called out several times as he searched the house. He finally found Lisa sitting on her bed watching a video on the flat-screen TV mounted on the wall. Lisa, he asked. Seemingly ignoring him, Lisa reached out a hand with the remote and pressed play. The TV sprang to life and Tony was shocked to hear his own voice coming from the screen. Well, the bee is hot, the on-screen Tony was saying. Tony recognized it was his own entertainment room and several of his friends. I don't think I could have done it if she wasn't. A little TLC and she was on my in an instant. I'm going to take that a whole company away. Hell, I'll wait a few years and be his daughter too. She's hot as heck. That was met by rough laughter and vulgar suggestions shouted by his friends. Tony recognized when the video was recorded. It was 8 months ago. Tony was so excited to have his plans move forward by 2 whole years. Lisa paused the video. Get out, she said in a dead voice. You've cost me everything and Mike has destroyed us both. Lisa, Get out. If Mike hadn't taken his .40 Sig Sauer with him, I'd have shot you as you came in the door and then one for me. Just go. Good luck ever finding a job in this field again. Mike will see to that. Then Lisa turned and faced the wall. Minutes or hours later, when she turned back, he was gone. She never saw him again. Lisa was served on Tuesday. She wasn't surprised to see that Mike had been completely fair in his divorce offer. A 50-50 split with her keeping their $1.2 million house and Mike taking most of their long-term investments. a lump sum balance between the current value of his pension and hers though her school district. An educational trust covered the kid's schooling and expenses. For this fairness, there was no alimony and no other contact. In return, the videos would never see the light of day. Mike would have full custody of Sam, but she would be at college most of the year, so it was almost a moot point. A personal note from Sam, though, said she refused to be forced to spend the next 2 years of school breaks with my mom and her F-buddy. Reading such words in her sweet daughter's handwriting was even worse than those damned videos. What had she done?